Hey folks, welcome back for another build video. This time around we're focusing on the new named chess piece, Henri, which comes with the talent Perfect Companion, which confused a lot of us because up until this point, Companion has been a backpack talent exclusively. But with the addition of this chess piece, it is now also available in the perfect version on the chest piece. So starting with the specialization, this time around we've gone with the Technician for the +1 skill tier provided by the Amped talent. This is a hybrid build, and oftentimes with hybrid builds I find myself putting Technician on for the +1 skill tier. On top of being a hybrid build, this is also a status effect submachine gun build, so the Grudge is a fantastic choice to go with here for our primary weapon, sporting the Perfectly Vindictive talent, where killing a status affected enemy gives you plus 18% critical hit chance and plus 18% critical hit damage for 20 seconds. And that effect applies to both you and your allies within 20 meters, so this is a great piece for group play. For our secondary weapon, I've gone with the Everlasting Gaze, which is a named rifle variant sporting the Perfect Perpetuation talent, where headshots grant 50% status effect damage and duration to the next status effect you apply. And that has a 16-second cooldown, but it does not have a time limit for when you apply that status effect. So generally, as you'll see in the video following, I'll start encounters by searching for that headshot, and then the Perfect Perpetuation talent is available for the next time you apply a status effect. And then for our sidearm, we've gone with the TDI Card Custom. This isn't really a build that pivots on the use of the sidearm, but that plus 1% skill tier down there is a great option for hybrid builds, where swapping to your sidearm will give you that additional skill tier, increasing the effectiveness of your skills while your pistol is active. As with many status effects builds, for our mask we've gone with Vile, which sports the Toxic Delivery talent, where for every status effect you apply, you also now apply the Toxic Delivery debuff. Total damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade damage, so if you are looking to swap out a different piece in this build, you could go with China Light to buff that damage, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For our backpack, we've gone with the Anarchist's Cookbook, which is the named Golan Gear backpack. That plus 10% status effects is quite fantastic. And on top of that, we have the Perfectly Wicked talent, where applying a status effect increases your total weapon damage by 18% for 27 seconds. I do want to make a quick note here with the introduction of Henri with Perfect Companion on the chest. One option for the backpack talent would be Companion, but given that I focused this one on being a status effect build, Perfectly Wicked just seemed like a much better option for the backpack talent, given how often we're going to be applying status effects. You really are going to have that 18% for the majority of an encounter, which is of course a 3% increase on the 15% that the normal variant of Companion gives you. So for anyone looking for a double Companion build, that's not what this is. Instead, we're focusing on the hybrid aspect of the Henri chess piece. Given that it sports a talent that directly buffs your weapon damage, but does roll ordinarily with a skill tier, this chess piece certainly seems suited for more of a hybrid build than an all-out weapon damage build, though obviously if you do get the correct secondary attribute rolls, you could re-roll that core attribute to weapon damage, something we could certainly do later on in a different build. But for this one, we wanted to lean into what I think the developers were thinking when they developed this chess piece, which is definitely more of a hybrid status effects build. As you can see, the first brand bonus there for Electrique is plus 10% status effects, and it does natively come with a core attribute of skill tier. For our secondary attributes, we've gone with critical hit damage and status effects, again leaning into both the SMG and status effect aspects of this build. And then for the mod slot, we actually have skill haste in this mod slot. Backing up for a second, we have critical hit damage in both the mod slots for the mask and the backpack. Though after running around with this build, I did go ahead and throw on one mod of skill haste just to get those skills back a little bit faster. And for our gloves, we have the named Sokolov Concern Firm Handshake, which again very much leans into the submachine gun status effect hybrid aspects of this build. As you can see there, plus 10% SMG damage from the first brand bonus for Sokolov Concern, a natural core of weapon damage, and then the named benefit here of plus 15% status effects. And then that secondary attribute of hazard protection. You could certainly re-roll this to something else, whether it be skill haste or critical hit damage. but given that this piece happened to drop with hazard protection, it just seemed to go really well with the status effect build here. Whenever you're running with an offensive chem launcher, a little bit of hazard protection is never a bad thing to have. For our holster, we have our second piece of Sokolov Concern, giving us plus 15% critical hit damage. And then in those secondary attribute slots, we have hazard protection and critical hit damage again. A quick note here as well, on any build that uses a second piece of Sokolov Concern, you could also obviously swap that out for Grupa Sombra, as the first brand bonus of Grupa is also plus 15% crit hit damage. And then for our knee pads, we've gone with Fox's Prayer, which is a bit of a staple on pure DPS builds. The plus 10% rifle damage is a great way to buff Everlasting Gaze, along with the plus 8% damage to target out of cover and critical hit damage in the secondary attribute slots, increasing our overall weapon damage as well. For our skills, we have focused on status effects, going with the Stinger Hive and the Firestarter Chem Launcher. Depending on the situation, you could certainly go with different choices here, but again, my focus was providing skills that all apply status effects, jointly giving us a way to utilize Perfect Perpetuation and proc both Perfectly Wicked and Perfect Vindictive. Likewise, the Firestarter Chem Launcher is a great way to apply the Burn status effect, which will also apply Toxic Delivery given the Vile Mask's talent, and overall just create a really bad time for your enemies. As you can see there, we're rocking tier 3 skills, which as you'll see later in the video are absolutely usable, but I did want to take this opportunity to mention going back to the Vile Mask with the Toxic Delivery talent. If you want to buff the overall damage of Toxic Delivery, you can do that by increasing your overall explosives damage, something that the first brand bonus for China Light does provide you. So if you want to make this a more skill-focused build at the cost of some weapon damage, you could swap Fox's Prayer for China Light knee pads, which would in turn buff the total damage output of Toxic Delivery. But that is this build. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take it for a spin, see what you think. I hope everyone is enjoying the new season after that brief delay, and we are excited to continue bringing you builds, especially ones utilizing the new brand set and the new gear set as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and continue to help our channel grow, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Identified.
I know who you are.
Detecting additional hostile contacts. Incoming hostiles detected. Serious trauma detected.
Come on, come on. looking for the paper.